Duval.
However, if you're looking to get top dollar for your home, you're going to want to make the home look its best in the best condition as possible. So, Mo, getting the home ready, what are some of the steps that we need to take?
Well, if your home's already vacant, we recommend cleaning it as well as possible, the obvious things, fixing any obvious repairs needed, and potentially staging the home. And when you say any obvious repairs, anything that just immediately catches your eye, it's going to catch the eye of a buyer immediately as well. So you want to deter that right out of the gate. But we can make recommendations for home staging companies as well as our developer customers with acquiring staging furniture inventory that we continue to use over and over again.
Now, is landscaping, is that important for a deal?
Yeah, I definitely think that's important. I mean, I've worked with several customers that literally we drove up to the house. I thought the home showed great online. Looks great. The pics, everything looks good. You roll up to the house. The yard's neglected. First thing out of the gate, we rolled up, and the people don't even want to see the home because they feel that the yard's unkept. How well did they take care of the house on the inside? So I definitely think, starting from the outside, then working your way in, making sure that you have everything looking as crisp as possible.
Yeah, definitely. So now on the other side of things, let's say the home's not vacant. One of the challenges is when you've lived in a home for a long time, a lot of times there's a lot of clutter. There's a lot of stuff that's hanging around in the house. And that's one of our biggest pieces of advice that we would say to maybe everybody is decluttering is an important step. When my grandmother passed away, there was a ton of items throughout the house, throughout the garage, throughout the storage shed in the back. And they now had to go through, my dad grew up in this house since he was a little kid, and she lived there all the way up to be elderly and pass away. So there was just so many things that now they have to figure out what to sell, what to keep, what's trash, what's to donate, and it was challenging. And then another story I thought about with having Joanne on is I also helped one time an elderly widow to sell her home, and she had been in the home for over 25 years. We had the home on the market. She had made it clean and ready for showings, but then someone ended up making a cash offer. It was a great offer, but they said, only if I can close and be in the house in 10 days. So all of a sudden, this elderly woman now had to get her house completely figured out in 10 days because it was a good enough offer. Like, she didn't have to. She could have denied the offer, but it was an offer she didn't want to pass up. So that was what she had to do. So Joanne's Simple Solutions, organizing made simple. Can you tell us a little bit about what professional organizers do?
Sure, absolutely. And like I said, glad to be here and talk about this important topic. There's no doubt about it because moving can be such a daunting task. So professional organizers are really folks who are trained and skilled individuals who coach their clients to develop new systems to improve the various aspects of their lives. So I think we wear a lot of different hats. We're educators, trainers, coaches. We're project managers. We can help people with their move. In the process, we help clients tackle or reduce their clutter and help them organize what's left so they can find things faster, gain control of their surroundings, and improve their quality of life. So there's a lot that goes into organizing, and like I said, with a move, it's just such a daunting task, and we can come in and really help people get focused.
Good deal. And I know I have a lot of clients that ask me, hey, I want to sell a home. What do I do? First thing I tell them is, obviously call Daniel and Mo, but what should a homeowner be thinking about when they're getting ready to sell their home? Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I think what they want to be thinking about is, they need to ask themselves, what are their new digs going to be looking like? Are they going to be different from their current digs? And if so, this may change what they should bring with them and what they'll use and what might fit into that new home. So that's one thing to think about. Oftentimes people just kind of want to pack up and move all their stuff. And I've even had people say, I'll just deal with it later. But you know what? They need to consider how much it's going to cost them to pack what they have to move it and then unpack it in their new place. Wouldn't it just be easier and cheaper to sell an item or donate it and then to rebuy it if they really missed it once they got into their new home? So that's first and foremost, I think, what they need to be thinking about.
Okay. So how can a professional organizer help a homeowner get their home ready for sale?
Well, like we said, it's such a daunting task to move. And we all know, and, you guys alluded to it, that, you want to have that home in a good place and show ready so that when those potential buyers come through the home, they can navigate the home easier. And that there's a lot of open spaces, because I think a lot of, potential buyers, they want to see those open spaces. And so it's a good time to pare down that decor, the furniture, family pictures, that kind of thing, help the space feel more open, inviting. But then also, what people don't always think about is they got to rid those cabinets and closets of excess items, because they want to have that more spacious feeling, and they want to look more organized. They want their potential, buyer to come in and think that they're pretty organized. So, I can help that homeowner focus and work through that purging process. Like I said, I wear many hats, and one of them is that of a project manager, and we can help people, get through that overwhelmed feeling that they've got. And bottom line, it's declutter, declutter, declutter. I can't stress that enough, really.
Yeah. Just simplifying.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of things should a homeowner eliminate when moving?
Well, the one thing that I recommend homeowners start with is just go for the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of stuff we have in our house that we really don't need to be moving. If it's food that's expired, medications, makeup, products that are near the bottom of the bottle, don't pack that stuff. Don't get rid of it. Please get rid of it. Worn sheets and towels. Maybe it's time to get some new stuff. You're starting a new adventure in your life. Get rid of that old stuff. Bills, receipts, outdated electronics, the clothes that don't fit. Now is a great time to get rid of it. Or stuff that you might have too much of. Dishes, cookware, who's got all those glasses and cups that really don't match anything, or mismatched containers and lids, right? We've all got those in our houses. Spices that are expired, the junk drawer, right? Get rid of the junk drawer. Towels that don't match, tools that you don't use. It's a good time to really assess those things that you are using or not using, and what really does need to go versus what can stay back. And then, of course, that stuff you probably haven't seen in years, right? How about those gifts you hate but are keeping out of guilt, right? Time to get rid of some of that kind of stuff.
I have a few of those.
Maybe old baby gear, old greeting cards, magazines, books that you haven't looked at in years. It's just a really good time to cleanse yourself, cleanse your home of all that stuff, and don't pack it and move it, because you're just going to have to deal with it on the back end. So it's really a good way to just kind of let go of some things.
And I had a question for you, Joanne. And by the way, thank you so much for being on our show. But let's say once somebody buys a home, how can an organizer help a new homeowner in their new home?
Well, that's a great question, because I think that's where, I can come into play as well, because people move into their new home and life doesn't stop, right? They're moving into a new home. They got all these boxes now, and hopefully they have all their boxes labeled so they know exactly what rooms those boxes should go into. But, I've seen it, more times than not, where those boxes get into a room and they never get unpacked, right? And so, I can come in and help people to be able to organize their space much better. They have a different configuration for closets and for storage, and sometimes they just don't know where to begin or how to get it better situated. And I can come in and help them get their stuff put away, better situated. It's more efficient, more productive for themselves. So I just worked with somebody recently who had a room that just needed we needed to unbox that room. The whole room was filled with boxes, so we can come in and help them with that.
I have a friend that's going to be calling you. So I have a good friend of mine. He moved here from Washington, D.C. We actually went to high school together, and he bought a house, moved in, and for the last couple of weeks I've been, calling him like, hey, let's go catch a movie. Let's, have a beer or something. And it's like, oh, I'm still unpacking. I went to his house. It's been about a month, and it's just boxes everywhere. I've never seen somebody move into a house and take so long. So he's Michael. I'm not gonna say his last name on the air, but he's gonna be calling you. He needs some help.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've seen people 6 months later still have rooms full of boxes.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I think that I picture certain family members of mine. I don't want to get too specific, but I picture certain family members of mine, and they may think of this and I can do it myself type of thing. But I definitely see the value that you bring, is that you help people set a certain time. Hey, we're doing this right now, and put the focus into organizing and figuring out. And that's huge, because the truth is that's what tends to happen, is we just we get overwhelmed, we put it off, and it just stacks up. And one of the things I want to ask you is, I know that you take your job very seriously. Like, how do you think this impacts people's like mental well-being when they get some of these things squared away?
Oh, it's huge. There have been studies that have, and I don't have them with me today, but there's been studies that have shown that clutter can really impact a person's, psyche. There's no doubt about it. People have challenges making decisions. They just feel overwhelmed. So just by virtue of getting their, space uncluttered and cleared, they feel life is more peaceful. You could come home and you feel more relaxed, and especially when you're going through a move, that's a huge change, in one's life, right? Even if you're moving in the same community, it's a lot of change and a lot of transition. So, nothing's better than coming home and just kind of going, I don't have to worry about all those boxes, because that just kind of wears on a person's psyche. So there's a lot, there's a lot of cleansing and a lot of peace that can come from having your room and your home, organized.
Yeah.
Not to mention just the efficiency.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Joanne's Simple Solutions, Organizing Made Simple. We're going to post all her information in our Facebook and Instagram posts where we're posting these segments that we're talking about today. So thank you so much for coming on. This is very important. Again, when we're helping you prep your home for sale, you want it to be clean. You want it to be decluttered. You want everything to be nice and bright and fixed up as far as getting the best possible return for your home. So give us a call, 904-877-1234. Again, that's 904-877-1234.